my pleasure to bring quality programs to all of you. I am so excited to be here again with another amazing speaker and business owner. Please be sure to listen to our podcast and take the time to listen to all the podcasts that are going to be on the webpage this year. We have such good information, tons of information that you can walk away with. So please take advantage of this unique opportunity. Just in case you didn't know, the purpose of the Businessmen and Women of Color podcast is to share industry information, network with our small businesses, and collaborate together, and also encourage job seekers to enter their line of work. So we also want to take a moment to thank our corporate sponsors and partners, our family of authors, Butler Armstead Consulting Solutions, Human Resource Learning Center, J&F Enterprises, and Women Offering Wealth, along with many of our business partners who is helping to make this event a success. So today we have something a little different that we didn't have on the podcast last year, and that is healthcare. And so we have a young lady here who was referred to me, and I think it's fantastic because I am a natural hair wearer, and I switch up between, I'm going to be a black woman here. I switch up between tracks, and I switch up between natural, and I switch up between wigs because we're just that versatile. And so I want to bring somebody on who's going to help us take care of our hair, because part of taking care of our hair is part of our business etiquette and is part of our business attire. And we want to make sure that we represent ourselves in the best light. So today I want to bring on Mala Rose, and I'm pretty sure it's Mala Rose, is the founder of Afrovita Haircare. Her mantra is know that with Afrovita hair products, your hair can not only look healthy, but actually be healthy. And it promotes beauty from inside out. So she started this adventure as a dream, and she wants to make the world conscious of all important ingredients that we need to make sure that our hair care is healthy, one curl at a time. So with that, I want to bring on Mala Rose so that she could tell us who is Mala Rose and where you from and how did you come up with the concept of Afrovita?
Hello, and thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored.
Well, you're
Um,
welcome. You're welcome.
I am in this hair care industry, considered a guru somehow. I started Afrovita Hair Products 9 years ago. Great, I'm so grateful for that. 9 years ago, at a time when natural hair care products was basically just getting started. So at the time, I was working as a massage therapist for cancer patients and creating body care products for them. And I was about 8 years into that business, and I just knew that was my life's work, was to work with cancer patients as a massage therapist. And I absolutely loved it, And also at the same time, I was transitioning from relaxed hair to natural hair. And I loved my relaxed hair. I loved how it blew in the wind. I loved how it felt. It just started getting thinner. And I started thinking, I wonder if it's the relaxer. So it was really just an experiment. Let me just go for a couple of months without a relaxer and let me see how my hair does. And it did better. So I was transitioning at the same time and looking on hair boards, as many of us do, just trying to find what's out there, if there's a product out there that I can use. And there really wasn't for my hair texture, which is just Afro-textured hair, kinky, curly hair. There just wasn't anything out there. And because I was already making body products, it's like, well, I wonder if I could. So you mix together a couple things. You get some aloe vera gel and some coconut oil. You go straight to the kitchen and you just put some stuff together and you slather it in your hair. Well, at the time I was sharing, and I did that, and I shared that with someone who told me about Ayurveda, which is like a 5,000-year-old medical system from India where they use just what's in the earth. They use natural herbs and oils really for the equilibrium of the body. So that's really what the whole thing about Ayurveda is making the body equal, equalizing the body. And it's for health. And so I took the 7 most potent herbs from Ayurveda that they use, and these are herbs with names like God of Hair, the Almighty Herbs for Hair, and so they had like a spiritual significance to me. So I went to my Indian store in Dallas. I live in Los Angeles now, but at the time I was in Dallas, and bought every herb that I found online. And I remember the cashier saying, "Are you seriously going to use all of this stuff?" And I said, "Well, does it work?" And she said, "Well, it works, but it's so time-consuming." And I said, "That's okay." And it did work. Ayurvedic herbs actually do work in your hair. It's time-consuming, but it works. So through working with one of my mentors at the time, we came up with a way to make it not quite so time-consuming. And the fact that we put the products together, we created the products for you, so that now all you have to do is go to the shelf and buy it, and you don't have to mix and wait a week for things to mature and then, go through the process. But it was a very beautiful time for me in that, the thought kind of came, I did massage therapy for cancer patients as a way to honor my own father who had passed of colon cancer. And it was my way of honoring him to go into that industry. And the thought came, you're honoring the wrong father. And I shut down. I was like, what does that
Oh, well,
mean?
okay. So, okay. So let me just step back for just one
Yeah.
moment before we go into that part of your story. I want to kind of go back a little bit about how you found the products in general, because that was a significant part of your conversation in the beginning. And
Mhm.
and while I understand that you were, working with cancer patients, first I would like to ask, what was that defining moment that clicked in your head and said, yes, I'm doing stuff for their health, and I know that cancer patients are losing their hair, but what was that defining moment that made you decide to focus on health care, not, outside of, your own hair and cancer patients? Was it just, what was it? What was that thing?
Um, what really caused me, and it was a total switch in careers, when that thought came to me, you're honoring the wrong father, I really needed to know what that meant. And it led me to study Ayurveda more than just herbs to use in my own hair. And one of the tenets in Ayurveda, although it is a medical system, the first tenet is knowing who you are and how you relate to God. So they gave it a spiritual significance, although this is a
Oh,
well-known medical system. So
okay.
when that thought came that you're honoring the wrong father, what that translated to me was I'm honoring my physical father with massage therapy. I
Gotcha.
needed to honor my spiritual father and go more into what is going on the inside of the body, or really the health part of it. So it was more a matter of looking within through learning about Ayurveda and
Mhm.
finding out what's really going on inside the body that you can help with. So I believe that was the big transition
Mhm.
from massage therapy into hair care.
Wow, that is really interesting because you kind of got me when you said you're honoring the wrong father. When
Mhm.
you're, and that is so significant, and it kind of made me sit back and actually ponder about that. From all the people that you are honoring on earth, are you honoring the right person? Are you
Mhm.
honoring what's within? And I think that's really important for everyone who is trying to make a difference, from, with someone, whether you're helping them with their health or you're helping them with some other type of physical or mental thing, but just the way that you're using this to heal from the inside out, I just think it's amazing.
Mhm. Absolutely, because your health really is your wealth, you know. And I've always been a caregiver. I just wasn't for sure, even as I started the hair product business, getting into that industry, how I was really going to make a difference. So I basically made that to be the ingredients that I use. I formulate all of the products myself and hand mix them to make sure that the ingredients that are put in the products, are going to be healthy. It's a known fact that 60% of what we put on our skin, and scalp is skin, goes into our bloodstream. So my platform has always been conscious hair care. And first of all, I have to be conscious formulating these products, knowing that the ingredients that I'm using is going into your bloodstream. I have to know that. And being a conscious formulator that way, I have to know that what's going into your bloodstream is going to be beneficial for your body. That's just the
Okay.
basis of Ayurveda.
Okay, so that leads into my next question.
Mhm.
How do you formulate, and maybe not giving away all what's in your form, but how do you formulate what could be universal for many people? I know we have stuff like, I'm over here looking at different lotions and alcohols that people have formulated that's supposed to be generic for a lot of people. How are you
Mhm.
able to discern what in your particular formula will be universal for many people?
It's really in formulating a product. It's really all about the effect that you want it to have. And so with the Ayurvedic herbs, it's really a matter of um, the combination of the herbs, the amount of each one that'll give it the effect that you want. And so, especially for hair, the basic principle really is the health of the scalp, and even beyond that, because that's still just external, the follicle health. And so the products that I created actually go into the follicle. So it actually penetrates. And it's just a matter of knowing which oils have a small, and I don't want to get into the science of it, but a small enough molecule to be able to penetrate the scalp and actually get into the follicle. Some oils, like castor oil, for instance, is too heavy. And so that molecule will never really penetrate the scalp and get into the follicle to really do you some good, but it will, do something for the external, the hair on the outside. So what I really wanted to do, because it's an inside-out thing, is really start to try to heal the follicle from the inside so that when the hair actually grows, it's growing in a healthier state, and then you can take care of it from there.
Okay. So you mentioned your hair type, and I have
Mhm.
the similar hair type. I have the 4C, the kinky fine, thin hair. From a distance, it looks
Mhm.
like it's full, but really, I know it's thin. However, I too have problems with the type of products, and I limit very, very little products on my hair because I just could not find something that would help with just being soft and things of that nature. So I kind of, kind of took it back to just water and oil, and that seems to work for me. I can't
Mhm.
do anything like relaxers or any other type of chemicals because it's just too much for my hair. How
Mhm.
does your product cater to just like your hair type, or maybe two or three different type of hair types? And for people who may not even understand their hair type, because I had to go out and research it, can you just give like a
Mhm.
short breakdown of the different hair types and how your product helps with that?
Sure. I think one of the main hair typing systems was created by a guy named Andre, who I believe was Oprah's stylist, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it's Oprah's stylist. And he kind of categorized different hair textures into types. So, say for instance, you're, Caucasian, Asian descent, you basically would have bone straight hair. He considers that a type 1. And there are certain products that are used for that. And then the curlier that your hair gets, the higher the type. So a type 2 would be like a really loose wave. A type 3, and there are subcategories in each of those. A type 3 would be maybe more of a spiral curl, and a type 4 is like a Z pattern or really, really tight spiral curl. The Afroveda line of products are geared toward curly hair types, so maybe the threes and the fours, because that's where I fall in, and they were initially products for me. so, um, so they're basically for those hair types, and because what happens with that is the natural oils from the scalp. The curlier your hair, the more difficult it is for that natural oil to lubricate the entire hair strand. So it kind of gets stuck. It might go an inch or 2 inches down the hair strand, but the rest of your hair doesn't get that natural lubrication. So we suffer a lot with, chronic dry hair, and we might become product junkies trying to find that one product that's going to moisturize. And so what Afroveda products will do, the moisturizers are heavier creams than what you might find lotion texture. They're heavier creams that'll really coat the hair with moisture without weighing it down. It provides a lot of nutrients, proteins and nutrients for the hair and the scalp.
I was going to ask, like for your products, I think for me particularly, and maybe many women who have our hair type, I have trouble getting my hair to sustain and keep the moisture in my
Mhm.
hair. And so I was wondering if your product helps retain the moisture and maybe give an estimate of how long, because one of the things I'm really interested in, and particularly your product, is that my hair tends to dry way faster. Even if I was to take a shower and wash my hair, it dries within minutes. And I'm really struggling to keep that moisture in my hair
Mhm.
so that I won't suffer breakage or any of that. So I have to do a lot of high maintenance to my hair. And I'm
Sure.
dying to find a product that is going to help me keep moisture in my hair.
Well, I will tell you, I'll share this with you, and it's something that you can do like immediately, and it has nothing to do with any product that you'll ever find on the shelf, mine included. So this is the basic way that you can tell how your hair is going to react. It's all about how you put the product on. So there's such a thing as hair porosity, right? So the more porous your hair, um, the easier it is to attract moisture, but it lets it go just as quickly, so you don't retain moisture. So that's on a high porosity scale. On the opposite end is low porosity, which means that your hair is very difficult to obtain moisture, but when you do get some in there, it's going to hold on for life. So here's a simple test that you can do is just get a cup of water, just tap water from the sink. Get one strand of your hair, clean hair, and drop it in the cup. So if it sinks to the bottom,
Mhm.
that's really high porosity. That means that your pores, the cuticle is open on that hair strand, so it's absorbing all the moisture, which is making it heavy, which is causing it to sink. Now you pull that hair strand out, and the cuticles will stay open, and it'll lose the moisture just as quickly as it gained.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, so if that hair strand just floats on the top of the water, that means the cuticles are closed, and it's not absorbing any moisture at all. So that's a really simple test, just to see what your porosity level is in your hair. And once you know that, the way to fix that, I'm personally on the low porosity end. I have to put moisturizer in my hair while I'm in the shower. So basically what I'll have to do is raise the cuticle so the moisture can get in. And the only way to raise the cuticle without damaging your hair is heat. And
Yeah, so you're
so
using hot water doing that process, right?
I don't recommend hot water, that's damaging, but what I will
Okay.
do is while I'm in the shower, put a shower cap on,
Mhm.
because that's going to create some humidity inside the shower cap, which is heat. And
Gotcha.
so then when I'm ready for the moisturizer, I take that off, moisturize my hair, and then I know it's going to stay in. So by the time I'm showered and out, my cuticles close immediately. So then I know it's moist. It's
Okay,
going to
well
hold that
that
in.
that is a good tip to share, because for me it's kind of difficult to find someone who's willing to kind of give that. I mean, there's tons of YouTubers out there that's talking about hair, but they don't always kind of break it down to that minute point
Sure.
that you just made. And I think it's important for us to understand, especially in our minority community, that we
Mhm.
understand our hair care and that we don't have to always rely on chemicals and that we know how to take care of our hair. Um, and
Absolutely.
and most of that comes from, for me, most of that I think comes from a collaboration between a professional like yourself and just knowing what I'm supposed to do in between visits.
Absolutely.
So if I'm going to, like, there was this one lady who I was going to, she did a phenomenal job of doing my hair without chemicals, but it only lasted a few days. But no matter how much I tried to ask, there was no kind of instruction that she would offer me to maintain my hair so that it would last until my next visit. And that sometimes can be discouraging for people like myself to want to go to a professional. So I want to encourage people to, if you're a hair care professional, just like Mela is, to share that information because then we know that you have our best interest to take care of our hair. And that's really
Absolutely.
important. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So tell us about some of the other things that you have going on in terms of your products, or what other services that you provide in addition to your hair care products.
Absolutely. So I, in working with these two different areas, working with cancer patients and also doing the hair products, I was in a conversation with someone who recommended that I marry the two because they're both passions of mine. And so I created a line of products specifically for cancer patients that have DHT blockers, which more than cancer patients can use. DHT is kind of a rogue form of testosterone that's within all of us. But at a certain point, it starts to get a little aggressive and it attacks the hair follicle. And you end up with thinning hair. That's kind of where the male pattern baldness and sometimes female pattern baldness comes from. So this product is geared towards being a DHT blocker. So it blocks that rogue form of testosterone from attacking the follicle. So I created it for the cancer patients, and it really led to this initiative called Your Health, Your Hair. And that's something that I started a couple of months on, and we're just really kind of getting more professionals, whether it's medical, hair care, to have this conversation to really educate. Our platform here at Afroveda has always been conscious hair care, but now at an age where so many are just wanting to look good, I just want my hair to look good. We want to change the conversation and really make it to where your hair really is healthy from the inside out. So a lot of that has to do with the diseases that go on, especially within the African American community, with cancer and diabetes. That runs through so many families, and you know with a cancer diagnosis, and once you've survived that, and now you're a cancer survivor, the next thing usually is looking for some way to grow back your hair, because as you mentioned at the beginning, our crown is our glory sometimes, and you know our first appearance. That's what people look at. We want to be able to feel good about ourselves, and there's nothing wrong with having a healthy head of hair. So I wanted to really just kind of open that conversation and invite, professionals to come in and let's talk about this, and really address these issues that we have with diabetes and cancer and how that affects hair growth. Because, there's so much medical science behind it. And so now, this Your Hair, Your Health, Your Hair initiative is just kind of starting that conversation. So I'm very excited about that.
That sounds wonderful. I definitely encourage you to keep doing that. And I'm also encouraging people who are listening to this podcast to reach out to you so that you can get this off the ground, because there's so many things that's going on in the African American community with diabetes, high blood pressure, and all the other things that is holding us down. And we are not always taking responsibility for our health, and I'm included. I don't always
Mhm.
eat healthy. I know what I'm supposed to eat, but at the same time, there's a lot of food out there that is not even healthy from the beginning. There's a lot of
Right.
vegetables out there that is also not healthy. But what we
That's
can
right.
do is make some type of choices to help, alleviate or lessen the risk of diabetes and all these different diseases out here that we become subject to. And if taking care of our hair would give us more of a confidence boost because we're able
Mhm.
to take care of our hair and we look good and we feel good, then I think people will start taking it more seriously about their eating habits or maybe just in general developing food, because there's many of us that's working in these industries that can make a difference to make food better for all, not just African Americans, but just for
Right.
everybody's health in general. So this is a networking event, Mela. So what do you need from everybody who is listening to your podcast? What do you need to thrive?
Well, I really honestly believe in serving humanity through conscious hair care, and it's my mission to not just uh, let that be a tagline for someone, but to actually join in serving humanity. Hair care just happens to be the industry that I'm in, but as I mentioned, I've always been a servant. So now it is my ultimate goal just to serve humanity through conscious hair care. And what I'm really looking to align myself with conscious and like-minded individuals, whether they're medical professionals or not, but who really want to do the same thing and make this more than just a cosmetic thing that men and women do on a day-to-day basis with their hair. You know, we want to go deeper and just really make people conscious of what it is they're using, you know, the chemicals that are in the products that we use. It's just about being conscious. And so I'm really looking to, you know, just kind of vibe with some people who are on that same mindset to just make ourselves just more healthy.
Okay,
I think that's
fantastic.
it. Yeah.
That's it, you know, and I totally agree with you. You have to change your mindset if you want things to change for the better,
Mhm.
and if getting a product that is definitely going to give you that healthy aspect, we should invest in that because we all
Mhm.
need to feel good and look good. And so with that, I would like to thank you, Mela, for being on the podcast today and sharing with all of us about how we should really take care of our hair and really just take care of ourselves because life is just too short to not feel good and look good.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Ian, for having me.